Hello, my name is Brent Barnes, and this is how the marching arts has changed my life. I grew up like most boys thinking that sports was going to be my thing, so I played Parks and Rec football in 3rd grade, and I hated it. I was a left tackle, and I was also second string center. However, when I was put in for center, I normally probably cried. Needless to say, I really wanted to quit and I refused to go to practice one day. However, it was that day when my lovely mother taught me one of the most important lessons. Always finish something out. Basically, never quit. Of course, I pouted about it that day and went to practice, but now looking back at it, it was a priceless moment. After I finished out football, I started playing basketball in the YMCA league that was coached by a family friend. This family consisted of a kid my age named Ryan and 2 parents, Billy and Jen. We lived close and stayed close since I was about the age of 2 years old. Billy was a natural-born people person. He was a passer in the basketball world, always looking to give others an opportunity. Billy was our coach, and he would usually drive me and a few other teammates to practice, and we would have the best time jamming out to Apache and Rapper's Delight right before practice. Our team was basically composed of the same kids for about 6 years, so we grew to be very good, and we eventually started to go undefeated. And even though we won most of our games, Coach Billy taught us to be humble, and most of all, that it's all about the fun. Coach Billy loved the game of basketball and what it did for people in a community. He mixed this love with his love for children and the potential he saw in them, and started a basketball camp in our very own neighborhood. And of course, me and my family helped. For a few years afterwards, he continued to coach our basketball team and continued this annual neighborhood basketball camp. However, I remember the day that my mom came in my room and told me that this wonderful man, Coach Billy Greer, had been diagnosed with cancer. The community all knew about Coach Billy's story. They banded together and helped all they could, but Coach Billy passed away. Technically speaking, of course. I say technically speaking because he still lives in the minds of everybody that he ever came in contact with. Coach Billy had sayings that he would say all the time, and we have been putting his quotes on the back of our basketball camp t-shirts every year since. There have been 12 so far, but some of them include: don't let what you can't do interfere with what you can do. Challenge. And my personal favorite, never be satisfied. As our little basketball team got to middle school, most of the kids kept up with sports, but I went in my own direction of absolutely nothing, or at least it seemed like nothing. When I was 10, I got a nylon string guitar. It was from Walmart and I got it for Christmas, but it didn't excite me that much. It wasn't until I was about 11 that I started taking lessons. Even then, I still hated practicing. But a year later, when I was about 12, I played the first song that I really wanted to play. It was Numb by Linkin Park. I played that song with the recording for hours and days. And from that day, my guitar playing took off. I started playing for about 6 hours a day, and I found my first love, guitar. And the underlying love, music. Come 8th grade, all I had was a guitar and a girlfriend. This relationship caused me major sadness, dare I even say depression. Looking at a relationship in 8th grade might seem like petty puppy love, but when you're that age, it feels like the world. Actually, I'm pretty sure this girl kickstarted the heart problems that I still have today. I stayed with her for too long. Skipping to my sophomore year of high school, a guy at my bus stop said, "Hey, Brent, you should come to drumline auditions." And I just said, okay. I didn't really think much of it at the time. I got to auditions, and little did I know, but standing there were the people that would turn the world around for me. That group of people changed my life. I ended up making bass drum for the winter drumline that year, which helped me to come out of my shell drastically. This group of people helped me to the level of confidence to end the mentally abusive game that was my relationship. And I committed myself to band. It's really funny because that year we did absolutely awful. We came in 23rd at finals out of 23 groups. But you know what? We had an amazing amount of fun. Marching band season rolled around in the fall and I made tenors. At this point I was ecstatic about band and so grateful to be a part of it. Our motto soon became positivity, and we did really well. This vibe of positivity carried back into winter drumline season, where it started all just a year before. However, with this new mentality on our side, we actually qualified for finals this year. We placed 10th out of 10 spots, but that was our goal. All we wanted to do was make finals, and we worked hard and we made it happen. The marching band season after that was my senior year, and I got to be one of the 2 drum captains for a young, new drumline. I got to motivate freshmen to love band, and what could be better than that? It was about that time also that I learned about a little thing called drum corps. I remember somebody specifically telling me that you have to be under 21 to march drum corps. Before I heard that, I never thought you could possibly march drum corps until you were 21, because they're so good. My girlfriend at the time had marched the DCA corps known as the Reading Buccaneers in 2011. And so in 2013 we decided to go up there again and try it. I got to the first camp and was immediately intimidated by the staff. I counted every single time somebody had to come and talk to me, and I compared myself to others. It was non-stop stress. But I stuck around for long enough and eventually made it onto the Reading Buccaneers quad line for the 2013 season. Up to this point in the season, we had only had our audition camps in a high school on stands. However, our first week at Lucent Beach, which really wasn't a beach at all, it was really a giant slanted parking lot, was our first week with the drums on. Keep in mind, in high school, I had baby drums. Every drum was smaller than usual, but when I got to Reading Buccaneers, they had big boy drums, Dynasty, all one piece, super huge piece of metal in the middle, really uncomfortable to march. Skinny little guy like me had a foot of gap in between him and his carrier. And with all that on a person who has never marched drums like this before, we had to learn a ton of drill that day. Maybe it wasn't a lot of drill, but it seemed like it compared to high school. And we had to learn a good portion of this drill with our drums on. But these drums were so heavy to me, so much so that I was crumbling under my carrier. My body couldn't handle the intensity and I started making involuntary noises. It got to the point where I couldn't stand straight up anymore and they told me to get off the field and get out of the way. And I told them no. During that rehearsal, another quad player fell and had to be stretched out, and before the next weekend could even come, that guy quit. And he wasn't even the first to quit. There was also a guy before him that came and quit also. But because they quit, I got to meet 2 amazing people, and we all made it through some tough times together. Unfortunately, I never overcame the physical demand of our show because I did not adequately prepare in the early season. And because I never got used to it, every weekend was an insane challenge to get through. I remember standing at standby and constantly thinking about falling over on purpose just so that I could sit out. And for the 9-month-long season, I only sat out twice. Once because I vomited, which everybody was proud of me for some reason. The other time they had to walk me off the field, and I sat in an air-conditioned camper. They asked me if I could do a run-through at the end of that day, and I said I could not. I came out of the camper halfway through the full run-through and saw my quad line buddies struggling with everything they had in them. I actually could not hold back the tears because I realized at this moment in time how much of a team effort this show really was. One of the best feelings was actually feeling like I was getting used to it, which began on finals weekend, unfortunately. We worked through finals weekend and put everything we had into the last hours we had with each other. The final run-through felt amazing, and standing at retreat while they announced we were the undefeated champions for the 2013 season felt great too. But the absolute best moment was when I got to stand there with the 4 other quads, and one of the men I respect most, our quad tech, put the traditional corps dog tags around my neck. These feelings, these experiences, these challenges, and these friends you cannot get anywhere else. I love the world of drum corps. I love the world of the marching arts. And I so desperately want to continue that. Right now I attend James Madison University studying digital video and cinema and journalism, which is a double concentration, and with marching band every night and being a part of Kappa Kappa Psi, a fraternity that focuses on serving the needs of the marching band as well as other music organizations, I do not have the time to get a job this semester. Recently, I've accepted the fact that my life will not be a normal life at all with the goals that I have. I've always been hooked on YouTube for years, and if you notice, my major is focused towards the making of videos. After I age out and after I graduate, I plan to follow around WGI and DCI/DCA to get content that DCI does not get. I want to be the best source for drum corps videos and coverage. I am also prepared to do whatever it takes, like live in my car and not get a real people job, just to pursue this dream. I would also like to be successful enough to start a fundraiser to pay for the kids who can't even pay for their own tour fees like me right now, because I believe that money should never be what comes between a person and their dreams. I personally have 2 years of DCI and 3 years of WGI that I can march for before I age out. At this point, I plan to audition for George Mason's indoor group known as the Mean Green, and my major dream has always been to march with Carolina Crown. But at this time, the only thing that is stopping me from pursuing those goals is money. Besides the money factor, I have devised my class schedule so I can wake up at 5 every morning to practice for 3 hours before classes. Then I have classes, then I go to band, then I practice and make videos after band. I am also committing myself to Insanity Asylum because I want to be able to demolish the physical demand that any show could possibly throw my way. After hearing my story, if you would like to help me live my dreams and help me help others, I would be forever grateful. Thank you so much for listening, and here's a link to my GoFundMe account where any donation is endlessly appreciated. If you want to watch my journey towards my goals and make sure that the investment in me is worth it, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel where I document the progress towards these goals. Thank you again, and have a great day.